3 words, no annual fee. If there's anything that you can take away from this video today, it's no annual fee, no annual fee, no annual fee. If that's all you take away from this video, no annual fee, you could close out this video right now. Not that I want you to, but you could close it out and you would be a lot better off as a beginner credit card user. What's up guys, it's Humphrey. I make videos here on YouTube on personal finance and investing, and today we're talking about the best beginner credit cards for 2021. In this video, I'm gonna give you a crash course on why you should use a credit card as a complete beginner and why it's good to build your credit. I'm gonna go over some of the best criteria to look at when considering a beginner credit card. And lastly, I'm gonna give you my suggestions on the best beginner credit cards for 2021. Hint, no annual fee. With that being said, do you know the other thing that's completely free with no annual fee? It's actually subscribing to this channel, because that is free. A large percentage of you guys watching today are actually not subscribed to my channel. So if you do end up enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe. It's completely free and you can always change your mind. So a common question I get is,
why should you use a credit card? Isn't a debit card good enough?
Well, the answer is no, a debit card is not good enough because a debit card does not actually build your credit. In the United States, if you want to have anything that's worth owning, such as a car or a house, you're gonna have to have a reliable credit score and a good credit history. A credit score is just a financial report card, basically telling financial institutions how likely you are to pay back your debt. But here's the thing, if you just turned 18 or if you're just new to the whole credit game and you don't have any established credit, well, it's really hard to build credit when you have no credit. It's kind of like that age-old paradox where you just graduate college, you're looking at entry-level jobs, and all the entry-level jobs require 3 to 5 years of experience, and you're kind of sitting there like, dude, I don't even have any years of experience. How am I gonna get this entry-level job that requires 3 to 5 years? But luckily, building a credit score is actually quite easy as a beginner, and what you can do is actually do it through a credit card. There are a lot of good beginner credit cards out there, which we will talk about today, but I do wanna talk about the benefits of having a good credit score first. By having a good credit score, you're actually gonna save a lot of money in the long run because you're gonna qualify for lower interest rates on things like your car loan or mortgage payments for a home. When you spend money on a debit card, it doesn't really build your credit score, and that's what we want to be doing when we're younger. Also, the other thing with a debit card is that you actually don't get any cash back or rewards for spending money. So 99% of the debit cards out there don't offer some sort of reward mechanism, and that is probably one of the biggest downsides of owning a debit card. With a credit card, on the other hand, if you select the right credit cards, you can get a bunch of cash back for just doing your normal everyday spending on gas, groceries, utilities, etc. And while these rewards are sometimes often pretty small, such as a 1% cash back or 2% cash back, for example, the average household of an American family annually is about $63,784, which means that if you were getting 1% cash back on that, that's actually about $637 back in your pocket every single year. So the point of using a credit card is, especially if you can use it super responsibly, is that you're gonna get money back for the spending that you already do. And to use it responsibly, one of the best things to do with a credit card is always pay off your balance in full. In fact, I just treat my credit cards like cash because that's just one of the better ways to go about it. The reason why these credit card companies can offer you such great rewards or perks is that they know that many of their customers will actually carry a balance and actually have to end up owing them interest on their balance. You'll notice a common motif or theme with all the credit cards that I'm suggesting today, and that is that they all don't have an annual fee. In fact, that's the most important criteria that I'm usually looking at, is that the credit card has no fee and will have no fee in the future as well. A lot of credit cards these days will give you no annual fee for the first year, but then the years after that, they'll actually start charging you an annual fee. So in the list that I've curated today, I have basically prioritized that all these credit cards have no annual fee for life. The second factor I like to look at is a low interest rate. Now, I know that we're always going to try to be paying off this balance in full every single month, but sometimes life does get in the way and you do have to carry a balance. So in the event that that happens, we want to have the lowest interest rate as possible. The third factor I look at is how good is the cashback or the rewards? Are they really good? Are they really bad? Are they even worth having the card? At minimum, having good rewards is going to make it more valuable to have a credit card than a debit card at the very least. The fourth factor I like to look at is basically how easy is it to apply for the card and how manageable is it to actually get approved on your first try. So now that we know that criteria, we're gonna use that framework moving forward to look at these credit cards that we're gonna talk about. And the first credit card in our list is actually called the Discover It Secured card. Now, this is one of the best first-timer cards because when you have no credit score, it's really hard to establish a credit history. The Discover It Secured unsecured is a secured card, which essentially means that you give them a deposit of $200, and in exchange for that deposit, they actually allow you to have the card and to start charging things to it. As you spend money on this card for, let's say, 6 to 12 months, it starts to build your credit history, and then after 6 to 12 months of reliably paying it off on time, they can graduate you to what's called an unsecured card. And so at this time, they refund your security deposit, and then you can just continue spending on it as an unsecured card. This card is well known in the industry for being one of the most beginner-friendly cards. It also has 0 annual fee, which we also really like. The interest rate is rather high at 22.99%, so this is one of the only bad things about this card is that I noticed that the interest rate on this card is a little higher than average. However, the rewards on it are pretty great and worthwhile. You actually get 2% cash back at gas stations and restaurants and 1% back on all other purchases, as well as an unlimited cashback match where they automatically match all the cash back that you earned in your first year. This card is super easy to sign up for and get approved for, especially if you're a first timer, so it's always going to be #1 on my list for best beginner credit cards. The second great beginner card is actually the Apple card, which I have right here. It is right here. It's actually made of titanium, which is pretty cool. But this card is actually issued by Goldman Sachs and actually came onto market in most recent years. It's on this list because of how easy it actually is to apply for this card. Now, one of the biggest barriers to entry for beginners is that applying for a card seems intimidating, and Apple makes it really easy because you can do it all from your phone. Now, please note that this card actually requires you to have an iPhone. So if you do have an Android, you're gonna wanna skip to the next card. But if you do have an iPhone and you're interested in the Apple card, here are the reasons why I like this card so much. The first criteria is no annual fee. Hits our criteria, boom, we're good. The second one is that the interest rate is between 10.99% to 21.99%. That's kind of moderate. I mean, 10.99 is on the lower end, but 21.99 is starting to creep towards the higher end. So the interest rate in that regard is kind of in the middle. The cashback rewards in this card are pretty decent. Now, some people will say that the Apple card pales in comparison to some of the Chase cards or Amex cards out there, but considering the Apple card is a beginner-friendly card that you can apply for on your phone and doesn't have an annual fee, I think the rewards are pretty good. First, you get 2% cash back whenever you use Apple Pay, and Apple Pay is accepted at a lot of merchants these days. You get 3% back at select merchants and 1% cash back on everything you purchase. When you buy Apple products, you actually get 3% cash back as well. So assuming that Apple actually comes out with an electric car and allows you to buy it on their credit card, which I don't know if they'll let you do that, but if you could get 3% back on an Apple electric car, that could actually be quite a lot of money. Now, we all know Apple kind of likes to price their products a little bit higher. So if the Tesla Model 3 is like $40,000, you could definitely see an Apple electric car going for $100,000, right? Imagine if they let you use the Apple card for your electric Apple car, which will come out in maybe the year 2030 or whenever the hell it's gonna come out. But 3% on $100,000 is $3,000. Now, will they actually let you do that? Probably not. The last reason I like this card so much is that they make it dead simple to sign up for this card. You literally go on your iPhone, you press a few buttons, and you can find out your decision on if you're approved or not rather quickly. The other great thing about this card is that it gives you a lot of transparency into your own spending. With their interface, you get a lot of details about your own credit card balance, and you can see how much of a balance you need to pay off before the next month to avoid paying interest. Lastly, it is titanium. I did mention that already, so you can impress your friends with a cool titanium card whenever you're paying at dinner, hopefully in a post-pandemic world. The next beginner-friendly credit card I want to talk about, well, it's actually 2 credit cards, but it's the Visa Petal 1 and the Visa Petal 2. I reviewed the Visa Petal last year in one of my earliest credit cards videos, but at the time they only had 1 Visa Petal, but now all of a sudden they became 2. It's almost like the Parent Trap all over again. Now, they both have no annual fee, and forgive me, I'm going to read the details below the screen right here, but basically the Petal 1 has a higher interest rate than the Petal 2. The Petal 1 interest rate starts at 19.99% versus the Petal 2 actually starts at 12.99%. Now, in terms of their perks, it was a little bit harder to kind of figure this out because they do make it a little bit confusing on the website, but the Petal 1 essentially offers you between 2 to 10% cash back at select merchants, but only when you share your location with them. The Petal 2, on the other hand, is much more straightforward. It's basically 1% cash back and then up to 1.5% cash back on eligible purchases. For that reason specifically, I really like the Visa Petal 2 a little bit better. It's one of the more beginner-friendly cards out there. It gives you that straight-up cash back. It's pretty nice in that regard, and also no annual fee, so that's always nice. The fourth card I want to talk about is actually the Wells Fargo Fargo Cashwise card. This ugly yellow card is one of the best cashback cards out there for beginners, and that's because it has no annual fee and its cashback rewards program is very straightforward. You get 1.5% flat cash back on this card. It's a very straightforward card, 1.5% back on everything. So straightforward, it's like a Mustang. It can only go in a straight line and not really handle curves that well. This is kind of like a mini Citi DoubleCash card, which I will talk about pretty shortly here, but also the great thing about this card is that the interest rate is 0% for the first 15 months. After that, it's a modest 14.49%. Lastly, you also get $150 cash back whenever you spend $500 in the first 3 months on this card. So that's an equivalent cash back of over 30% for your first $500 of spending. So you want to time your spending if you ever get this card. So what that means is that if you do apply and you get this card, you want to make sure that you're spending at least $500 in the first 3 months, or else the cashback intro offer is kind of wasted. So if you know that you have a big purchase coming up, or maybe you can just start to pay for some of your friends' dinners and meals and have them reimburse you, that's really a great way to maximize that spend and get that intro offer in the first 3 months. The other great thing about this card is that it's pretty easy to apply for. You can just go straight into a Wells Fargo branch and ask to apply for it. So that was the Wells Fargo Cashwise card, but there is an honorable mention, which I did mention a little bit earlier, which is the Citi DoubleCash card. So the Citi DoubleCash card is just an honorary mention because it's not really a beginner-friendly card. You need to have an established credit score and history to apply for it, but let's say you do establish your credit score for, let's say, 12 months after you get one of these beginner cards, you can apply for something like the Citi DoubleCash card. It's a card that gives you 2% cash back on all of your purchases, and that's really straightforward and easy to understand. It's just like the Wells Fargo Cashwise card in that regard. Also, it has 0 annual fee. So again, a common motif of this video, no annual fee, very good stuff. The Citi DoubleCash card is one of the best cards out there, so I think a very successful strategy that you can pursue, especially if you're a beginner or a first-time credit card user, is to establish your credit history for 6 to 12 months, or even maybe a little bit longer than that. Then you can start applying for these better rewards cards, such as the Citi DoubleCash or the Chase Preferred card. As the length of your credit history continues and you continue to make on-time payments, you can start to qualify for better and better cards. The last thing I want to bring up really quickly about owning a credit card is that you want to avoid carrying more than 30% of your credit limit as a balance from month to month. Now, this shouldn't be a problem if you're paying it off every month, but basically if you have what's called a credit utilization ratio of higher than 30%, so let's say your credit limit is $1,000 and you're carrying about a $500 balance, that's a credit utilization ratio of 50%, which is higher than 30%, which is not recommended. The general rule of thumb is to try to keep your credit utilization ratio less than 30%. So in that example, if you had a credit limit of $1,000, you want to keep your balance under $300 from month to month. And this is because the higher your credit utilization ratio is, the more risky you are in the eyes of your lender or your credit card company. And sometimes your credit score can actually go down if you're using too much of your credit. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments for me, please leave them in the comment section and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos from me. I make videos here on personal finance and investing. If you'd like a free stock from Robinhood, whenever you deposit any amount of money, it can even just be $1. Make sure to use the link in my description below for that. Lastly, thanks to all my Patreon supporters. I appreciate you guys being here. And if you'd like more credit card content from me, I've made a couple other videos on credit cards, which I will leave up on the screen for you guys right now. All right, hope to see you in the next video. Peace.